Oh, well, it's early in the morning, grab a cup and tune on in. Robert and Dave got that southern charm, let the laughter begin. From the morning funny to Maga Minute, ain't no better way to start your day the southern way, with a little joke and pray. We're just southern folks talking southern things, front porch swinging where the church bells rang. From Mama Said to Humpday News, we keep it real with down-home views. Sunday morning in the Word, get that gospel flow. Prayer time calls, so let's let our troubles go. Come Monday night, Mama Said is bringing the truth, and when it's night talk with Dave, man, you know it's getting loose. We're just southern folks talking southern things, stories and sports where the good times hang. From SFP News to I Remember That, we tell it like it is, and that's a fact. Got our veteran of the week, gotta show our pride. Pets of the week, bringing love worldwide. Talking paranormal, digging true crime. Southern fried stories all the dang time. So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give them a hand? So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give them a hand?
Good Wednesday evening out there to all of our Southern Fried Podcast fans, all of our people out there at Cornbread Nation. We love them breadheads. Happy Wednesday, Jenna. Is it? It's Ash Wednesday. All right. Happy Ash Wednesday to you too, Dave. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. It was a rough weekend. I've had a busy start to the week, but it's good to be at Humpday. Hello, Pantera.
Yes.
God bless everybody. Also,
Absolutely.
those in Instagram, thank you for being here.
I love the hat.
A different look for tonight. It's Hump Day, you know. My Indiana Jones looker.
It's a little bigger. We call it a sombrero. It's not quite big enough for that.
I'm not going sombrero. I was at a store. It was a cheap price, and I said, I'm going to wear that. Hello, Barry.
Oh,
So I
Barry.
went to pick up my granddaughter at school. I always drop them off, or almost always. So I picked her up, and she's looking at the hat. She's going, Pawpaw. And she goes, where's my hat? I want the hat. So I said, well, wear it. So she wouldn't wear it in front of her schoolmates. I said, I'm going to roll down the window and tell this boy right here that you've got a new hat. She goes, don't you dare. But she said, I want a hat like that. And she said, we'll wear them on the Southern Fried Podcast. I said, oh, well, that means you got to come on then. So
There you go.
So we'll see. I don't know. One of these days she'll get on here. She's getting closer. It's a hard age. They worry about every little thing about what people say. When you get older, like, well, I'll say me, you don't care. It's like, if you don't like it, tough.
Yeah, Yeah, well, sometimes you just have to lay it down for them, Uh, but I used to have a hat like that I came out to similar when I was wrestling. But back in the day.
I don't know where it's at because I've got so much stuff. I've got some stuff in storage, but I've got a hat that I love the feel of. It's a bigger hat than this, but I wore it when I did War Between the States reenacting. Actually, I have two, and I really like the feel of them. I just got to figure out where in the world I put them. They have that old timey look, and I like that. So
Well, you're old timey, so I mean, it's like
I,
going
I
back to the.
I'm a man
You know,
born
it's
out of
like
season.
back when you were in your 20s and 30s. Back in the 1800s.
I was in my 30s when I wore those hats when I first started going to
Yeah, back in that
reenactments, and
order. That's what I was bringing up.
I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's okay. Uh, yours Earl says his look better, so there you go.
Well, mine was flat, but Earl's was like a cowboy hat. Well, he's not a cowboy. Well,
They
I guess
had a cowboy hat, but it didn't quite look the way I wanted it, or I would have bought it. So
he was a cowboy. He's Cowboy Cody. He came out with his hat on, his duster, and cowbell. He always brought a cowbell with him to the ring. I
like
think
a
he hit
like
a first or two with that cowbell
like
too.
a Mississippi bulldog. They got them bells going on.
Yeah, yeah. He carried a cowbell to the ring. I carried a both paddle.
There is something though that some people can't wear certain hats.
Yeah.
If you go back to the War Between the States, that's like a kepi. Some people just can't wear a kepi. If you're a big man, kepi don't look good
No,
because you got this big old head and this small hat,
a little
and it
bitty
looks
hat.
like it's like the grape ape or something. It just doesn't look good.
It looks like one of them little monkeys, where they play like the monkey grinder. He goes,
If you're like a buck 20 and tall and lean, the kepi looks cool. I mean, I like the look of them. That's like a a cab hat. You know what I'm talking about? Some people can wear those, some people can't. You know, but it's amazing how much we've changed.
yeah,
Back 100 years ago, everybody wore hats, men and women. You didn't go nowhere without your hat.
that's right.
Businessmen went to work; they had their hat on. Farmers, it didn't matter who you were, you had a hat on when you went out. That was just in the style. And there was all these hat places that made hats, and it was a big business. And then over time, it just changed. I think it's came back some. A lot more people do like to wear hats. I think it's become more acceptable, but hats were a big deal, man, a big deal. I mean, for obvious reasons, though. Back in the day, I mean, you didn't have air conditioning and stuff. You could use your hat to dip in the trough or whatever, and keep the sun off you. Which now, I mean, it's always important to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people get skin cancer and stuff, so you need to protect your skin. And
Hey, our
so,
first lady's helping to make hats popular again too.
do what?
Our first lady's helping to make hats popular again too for women. She's wore some very stylish hats.
Yeah, she has. I mean, she's a stylish kind of person, and
I
you
mean,
know, um,
I would say her style's as good as mine, but yeah, she's got pretty good taste in clothes and stuff. Here I am sitting in a t-shirt and ball cap because I've been outside working all day. Still got dirt under my fingernails. I was getting in that dirt today. We talked about when you're gonna farm or grow garden, you got to get your hands in that dirt. Boy, did I have it in the dirt today.
you should pull out your wrestling hat and wear it some. You should do that.
I don't even know if I even have that thing anymore. I don't think I do. Ugh. I could get one like it though, because it was styling.
I mean,
It was.
because with a fat head, I mean, you can wear a hat like that. It works.
I said it
I
was
mean,
similar to yours. Remember, fathead. Hey, this is.
uh,
Thank y'all for joining with us tonight on Hump Day News. We're gonna touch on some news stuff tonight. I know Dave's got stuff he wants to cover, and I got something I want to bring up right off the stake and bat, if it's okay with Dave. Uh,
It's your show.
oh, it's our show, but I want to throw this out there real quick because this has been going on long enough, and it's about time we brought it to an end. And this may be one of the things you want to talk about anyway. Uh, uh, and Trump started off his message this morning, says shalom or shalom, Hamas means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all of the hostages now, not later, and immediately return all of the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it's over for you. Only sick and twisted people keep bodies, and you are sick and twisted. So, Trump added that he is sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job, and that not a single Hamas member will be safe if you do not do as I said. I've just met with your former hostages whose lives you have destroyed. This is your last warning. For the leadership, now is the time to leave Gaza while you still have a chance. Yeah. Also, to the people of Gaza, a beautiful future awaits, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. Make a smart decision. Release, this is in all caps now, release the hostages now, or there will be hell to pay later. Finally, finally, somebody's putting their foot down. Finally. So quit coddling these terroristic, murdering psychopaths, and let's do what needs to be done. If they won't release them, let's wipe them out. They had no business going over there starting anyway. And everybody can say, "Oh, poor Palestine, or poor people over in Gaza," all they want to, but they're supporting the Hamas. They are absolutely, the citizens of Gaza are supporting Hamas. There's been too many people come out of there and say, well, you can't tell them apart because they're all the same. It's Hamas. And I don't know if that's by threat or what, but my goodness. You got any comments on that one, sir?
I mean, on the one side of that, I mean, I get it. I mean, I think you have to be tough with them, and I have no problem with terrorists being told exactly what for. My problem with it is I don't know that we need to be in the middle of that mess. Our people are released. Israel's got to take the lead on their situation, and I think he's trying to proxy himself and us in there. The When you look at a bigger, if it became a bigger regional conflict,
yeah,
with Hamas, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it's big, but they're not as big as like Hezbollah in Lebanon. If that was to spread, that's just something that I don't know how I feel about it. I've always supported, if Israel's defending itself and what they've got to do, as long as they didn't go overhand, with which it can't happen in conflicts. I don't know how I feel about America being invested into that. Is that any different than being invested in Ukraine? I'm just not sure how I feel about that.
Okay,
I'm pro. I have pro and cons on this one. Pro and cons.
I'm all pro on it because what he said was he is sending Israel everything it needs to finish the job. Israel's going to finish it. We may give them some arms and stuff to finish it, but they are our ally. And they were attacked blindsided, which I get it. Ukraine was too by Russia. All right. The difference is Ukrainians are not our friends. They are not our close allies. They got ran over. and we're trying to keep a buffer up for Europe and all that kind of stuff. This is our ally, and we stand with Israel. And if they need stuff to get their people out, and Hamas ain't going to give them back, hey, give them what they need.
What has finished the job, though? I mean, words have power. What has finished the job?
Well, I think his smart words were, let's see, because he said, his, as you said, words have power. Or it is over for you. And he went in, he put it on out there. Uh, but not if you hold hostages. If you do, you are dead. He's going to back Israel's play. He's going to make sure they have what they need. If they got to go in there and wipe them out to get them back, fine.
But how do you wipe out Hamas without wiping out kids, old people?
You know,
Um,
the people in Palestine and Gaza, they're choosing to hide these people. I know they're using them as human shields, but these are the same people that keep them in power. It's like, I hate to equate it this way, but it's kind of the same. It's like we were talking about this morning with some of these Democrats, they're just hateful and mean and ugly. But the constituents keep voting them in. All right, you have the same problem with Hamas over there. I mean, you have these same people, the citizens are still supporting them and keep them in power. Where do you draw the line? Whose fault is it? I don't want to see I don't want to see any innocents killed. I don't want to see children killed. I don't want to see hospitals taken out. But that's exactly where they hide. They hide under hospitals or in hospitals.
I understand. Yes, they do.
You got to do what you got to do to get it rooted out, or you're never going to get it rooted out.
I mean, they've already flooded a lot of those tunnels and filled a lot of them in, but there's hundreds of miles of them.
Yeah.
But again, it's like you just don't want to get stuck into something that's ongoing and it escalates. Because again, finish the job. That's what's finish the job. I mean, that could be a changing target.
He's already said, let's tear it down and rebuild it. Tear it down, collapse all the tunnels and everything else, level it off nice and neat.
And I'll just be honest. I said it when he said that. I'm not comfortable with us being in Gaza in any capacity. I think it's a dead end for us.
Let Israel take it over. I say wipe it out. I'm not saying wipe out all the Palestinians. Let them move to other countries, whatever. Level it off, close it up, make it all Israel.
Are you ready for holy war? These are questions that have to be answered. Are you comfortable with a holy war being declared on Israel and America and 22 Arab nations taking part in that holy war?
We're kind of sort of there now because most of those Arab nations are harboring terrorists anyway. Not all of them, but most of them.
That's not holy war. That's just ongoing operations.
Okay.
That's not a full-on.
If they want to go out and jab against us, let's go ahead and do it.
And I don't mean it's holy. It's not a holy as God's holiness, but it's an intifada. It's a full-on declaration of intifada against Jews and Americans. I mean, that's just where you're getting into.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, why nibble around the edges of the cookie? If you want to go ahead and do it, take a bite. They'll regret it. They don't want war with us in Israel. No, they don't.
It is a spiritual war, good versus evil, Pantera. But it could be this could be, like I said, it could open up a Pandora's box of pure hell for America. It could, and why? Why do we do that? What is the end game?
Okay, so we just ignore what's going on over in Israel. This is
I
our
didn't
option.
say that. I
Now,
didn't say that.
I know, but I feel like this is our options. All right, either we ignore what's going on over in Israel, or we give them our full support and get this thing over with. It's gone on long enough.
But what does support look like? Is support just offering up
Give them what they
weapons
need.
and support, or is that actually putting boots on the ground in Gaza?
I'm
Well,
not
he's
saying
talking about being like a real estate
Trump didn't
developer
either.
in Gaza.
That's what I was saying. Trump didn't say about us putting our boots on the ground. He said giving Israel the stuff, the weapons and stuff that they need to get the job done. Let Israel decide what gets the job done. We don't have to. We can back them. We don't have to decide
That's
that.
that's never gonna pass muster with the Arab nations in the region.
Don't care.
But you would if you, and
No.
they're not going to go past. Barry, you make a great point. Yes, and that we have great relations with Saudi and Jordan,
Yeah.
more so with Jordan. But you do not want an uprising that just creates holy war, like I said.
Why not? They're nibbling around the edges. Let them take a bite out of that sandwich if they want to. I mean, if they want holy war, we can show them holy war. They've been throwing rocks and sticks and planes at us since 9/11. Enough. They did it to Israel. That's our ally. What the heck? Go in it. If that happened in this country, will we be at a holy war? If they came across Mexico, say it was Mexico doing it to us, and they came across over into Texas and kidnapped a bunch of people and murdered a whole bunch more, what would we do?
But that's the here, that's not there.
Okay. So, uh, combat ethics are dependent upon where you're located in the world.
So you're saying we need to pour everything into Ukraine still?
No,
Why?
I am not. As
Do
I
we
think,
not?
not Ukraine's not really our ally like Israel is. Israel, we're tight with Israel. We are tight. Israel backs us, we back them. And that's the way it should be with us in Israel. Israel's our main ally over in that area. There are, and nobody else really backs them. They say they do, but they don't actually do it. How many other countries are giving weapons and stuff to Ukraine? We've given them billions of dollars. How much of it did they lose? I guarantee you, you could probably go back and account for almost every piece of equipment and every dollar that we've sent to Israel.
Maybe,
You know,
maybe.
I'm just saying.
I
On
love
most,
Israel.
I get
I love the
90.
Jewish people. I don't always love
Yeah,
what Israel does,
I don't
but
either.
there's been fraud in Israel too. To be
Yeah,
fair, some not on that level,
yeah.
but their leaders have been accused of fraud, and they've put them on trial and stuff. There's been a little bit of that. So I'm just
Oh, yeah.
saying this is dangerous ground when you start stepping
Yeah, it's
into
dangerous.
the middle of a cesspool, which can be um, the
Okay.
Middle East.
I don't think they really want to take a bite out of that sandwich. I really don't. I really don't. I don't think they want to. And you know, I don't want to be a warmonger or nothing like that. That's not what I am. But you know, I hate going around with something hanging over my head like a threat. Oh, if you do that, if you upset us, then this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Well, by golly, if you're going to threaten it, go ahead and flip and do it. You know, don't tell me, oh, I'm going to whip your butt. And don't tell me that. Just come up and hit me. Okay. If you want to whip my butt, just come on up and just start punching. I don't need a warning shot. And I don't think our country does either. We've had warning shots.
Another curveball throw into this is a lot of people in this nation alone believe that America is um, in league with Israel and is doing things they shouldn't, and that Israel's directing us, and that we are they're using us to do their bidding. That their influence is so strong in our government that you know, I mean, there's a rising tide of anger in our own nation about this. It has the possibility of exploding within our own nation, our own citizenry rolling out and becoming. I'm just saying this is a tough one. I've always supported them, but there's a lot going on. Um, and Spartan's one of them. Spartan's one of them that he doesn't. He
Yeah.
has his opinion, and we don't. Me and him don't agree all the way down the line, but there is some influence there that does pull America into conflict, and it does.
Yeah.
And so you have
So,
people that say we want to be that police operation around the world. Other people say let's come home, let's not do that. There's some that say we have to do those things to have be keep it off our shores. There's a lot of different directions to look at. I'm just saying that the Middle East has always been a problem for whoever concerned themselves with it. It usually never ends well.
okay.
Yes, Barry. Yes, I
Uh,
agree.
parts that car. Most of the time, I agree with what you say. I am 110% not agreeing with what you say on this. Uh, you know, Israel is what Israel is. It was given to the Jews after World War II, or given back to the Jewish people. That is their country. All right. Nobody else wanted it at the time. They gave them this, and they turned it into something. Now everybody's upset about it. Okay, fine. All right. And their neighbors don't like them. Well, that's not their fault. So we can't. They can't help that. We can't help that.
Well, I'm all for them being in the land. I think and that's biblical. It's prophecy, and that's going to be the end time events are going to center around Israel. It is the
And
center point of the
nations
world. That's what I'm
and the
saying, though.
nations surrounding Israel turning against them. That's
Everyone that concerns themselves with Jerusalem, it becomes a burdensome stone, and it just has the potential to blow up in our face. Support Israel, yes, but it sounds like he's going a step further. That's all I'm saying.
it.
Why
He
why are we
very
taking
no, no.
why are we taking the lead on it?
I'm going to disagree on that. He said he's going a step further. We have been sending them weapons and stuff. We've been doing that all along. He
Have no
said
problem
nothing
with that.
about putting boots on the ground. He said giving Israel what they need to finish it.
Read your first statement. Well, okay, finished. But what did he say? What was your first statement? What was the headline?
Shalom, Hamas, which means
That
hello
right?
or goodbye. You can choose. Release all the hostages now, not later, and immediately turn over all the dead bodies of the people you murdered, or it's over for you.
Now, see that right there. That's taking another step. Why is it for us to say that?
Well, maybe he just let them know that they'll make sure Israel has all the stuff that they need to do it. And that is completely and totally 100%. I do not. I think that's false. If you could cite me sources on that, I would appreciate it. I don't feel that
Well,
Israel was built on terrorism.
a lot of
I think
people
the countries
believe that.
around them were.
A lot of people believe that through the Epstein operation, that's where a lot of them got blackmailed. I'm not. I don't know if it is or not. I'm just saying that
Cite me sources there, Spartan.
what you will hear is Mossad was helping Epstein run that operation to blackmail leaders around the world to force them into agreements, support, etc. I can't say if it is or not. I'm saying that's the scuttle. That's what you hear.
You know, and I can't say for sure that Donald Duck was having an affair with Minnie Mouse because I didn't see it happen. But just because someone tells me that doesn't make it true. I mean, cite some sources. I mean, give me some info on that. Give me some more info because I'm just not. I can't. That's a very very powerful statement just to put out, and that's. hmm. But you know what? You know you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm not berating your opinion or you as a person. I don't agree with that statement, and all I'm asking for is more insight and thought on it. Give it to me, and maybe you're right. Maybe you'll convince me. But as it stands right now, I don't believe that. But they're not perfect. We're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You know, at the same point in time, they have a right to exist. One Nation Under Blackmail, Volume 1 and Volume 2. These two books are all you need to know about Israel. This is Details, book by Whitney Alice Witt. Okay. Let me write that down, and I will.
Anyway, so just in conjunction with that is we have Ukraine. He says we're taking back Panama Canal. He mentioned that during the speech. You know, there's just a lot of things that are popping up, and one misstep. I'm just saying, be careful. I'm not. I never said I was against any support for Israel, but it sounded like it was moving into a new realm, a new kind of support. So anyway,
That's Whitney.
that's my comment. That's my comment. I'm just playing the other side. I'm just saying it could be dangerous. Yes, you have mentioned that before, Spartan. So, do all these things tie together? Some believe they do. These are books that he's read. You know, I'm assuming there's receipts in those. But I'm just saying, on an overall geopolitical, when you immerse yourself into the Middle East, you have to be very careful. Very careful. He was successful last term with the Abraham Accords, and he cited that during the speech.
Yeah.
That was a little bit different deal. That was making agreements with these nations. He got some trade deals. He got some agreements to even do some deals with Israel. That was the Abraham Accords, and it was successful. But the Middle East is legendary for blowing up in administrations' faces. If you go back and look at all of our administrations, and you look at, or at least for the last 30, 40 years, maybe even 50, if you go back and look at each presidential leader, and you look at Israel and all that they tried to do there to get agreements, peace, whatever, it always blowed up in our face. Always. It's a moving target. And honestly, there will be no peace there until Jesus returns. So what I'm saying is, it is a dangerous move, depending on how far you go. I mean, he's making the statements that, hell to pay or whatever, but that's Israel to say that. We're just supporting Israel. Why do we take the lead in announcing return them all or else? I mean, why does our president have to say that? Support Israel and say we support Israel in this maneuver.
Either we need to support them or not. We don't need to be halfway. I mean, and that's biblical too. God hates halfway. Either you're all in or you're all out. Make up your mind. Decide. Either we are going to support our ally Israel or we shouldn't.
So what is all in?
These halfway measures don't work. They never have. That's all we've ever really had, Dave.
What is all in?
Halfway measure.
Again, words have power. What is all in? What does that mean?
Well, let's go over there. Let's help them. All right, I don't want to put boots on the ground. Give them what they need.
See what I mean? It's not easy. You make a statement, but it's not easy to define. What is all in?
Okay, whatever Israel needs, we give them. That's all in. If they need us to go over and throw a few troops in, let's go over and do it. But we should support our ally.
That's boots on the ground.
Hey, when 9/11 happened, who was the first people over here to help us?
I'm not talking about
to get in here and help us.
I'm not talking about the support that
they were already here before we even asked. They were on their way. That's our ally.
Again, support for your ally, yes, but what I'm talking about is you're saying go
do what
all the way.
Help them however they need it. Help them. Get the hostages back. If it were turned around, they would help us.
Yes, Barry. It's a great book to read in relation to that. Absolutely. The book of Joshua. Again, as Barry said there, it's a dangerous place.
Spartan. that is
See, that's
anti-Semitic.
not going to happen.
And
That's not going to happen.
We're not going to be anti-Semitic. We're not against anybody or anything like that. Everybody has a right to live and have a right to exist in their own countries and whatever. But I view that as anti-Semitic. Am I wrong on that?
No, I mean, they have a right to be there. It is their land, where they are living now. In fact, they don't have all the land, but how the and again, I'm not against Arabs, and I do support the Jewish people in the right to their existence. Yes, the Hamas has sworn to the extermination of Israel. That's in their charter to totally destroy the nation of Israel. I'm
What
dead
about
set against
Israel?
that. I'm not talking about. I'm fully supportive of Israel, but you have to be measured in what you're going to do as far as that support
Now, wait a minute. Are you fully supportive of Israel or
of
just
their right
supportive
to
of
exist.
Israel as the situation dictates?
I'm fully supportive of their right to exist and us selling them or making loans because the 30% of their GDP is for national defense. That's huge, but that's how much it costs to defend themselves against these threats. It's very expensive. So I've always been for us selling them, which we've sold Saudi advanced weaponry too. It's not just Israel. We've sold them F-15 fighter jets and things like that. The Iron Dome or whatever we've helped, the Patriot missiles, whatever we've helped them with, financial loans to keep them, afloat, to help with their, operations. Sometimes that's things that's paid back. Sometimes we give them stuff, but it's usually agreements where they buy stuff or a loan that they'll pay back over time. I'm always supportive of that. I'm saying when you go beyond that and you're starting, if I see C-130s landing and American troops getting off the planes, that's a whole nother level, dude. That's a whole nother level.
Okay. Let's just do it halfway then. I think you're right. You convinced me. That's a not. All right. So we're going to agree to
I didn't
disagree
say
on
that.
that. Huh? We'll agree to disagree on that one.
You asked for my
think if
opinion.
we're going to help them, we need to help them.
You asked for my opinion. I have a right to my opinion.
Yeah,
You said,
do.
what's your thoughts on that? That's my thoughts.
I respect your opinion, and we're not going to agree on that. I think if we're going to help them, we need to help them. And
I just asked for clarification, and you took it to a whole nother level of,
well,
like
I'm
I
sorry.
don't, like I'm not
Let me
supporting
finish
or it's a weak response or whatever. And all I said
No.
is, it's a dangerous situation that we have to be very careful with when we're talking about foreign diplomacy and our involvement around the world.
Okay, I've been educated. Let me go get me some coffee, and I'll be right back. Okay, just give me a second. And this right here, so does United States, Russia, China, Japan, Switzerland, Germany. But you're singling that out on just on Israel, pardon. And every country does that. Every one of them. All right. I'll be right back. I do need to get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Quick commercial. We'll both do it. We'll be right back, folks. Thanks for watching Humpday News. We'll be back. Hey, folks. Dave in the AM here with the Southern Fried Podcast and the Cornbread Nation. For many weeks now, me and Rob have been telling you about our affiliation with Dubby Energy Drinks. I've been drinking some of them on the show, and I just got in today the powder version, and this is the Pond Blom version of this. And hey, I tell you that it gives you the focus and the energy without the jitters or the crash. There's no sugars, no fillers, no artificial dyes. So get you some Dubby today. Use the promo code Southern Fried, and you'll get 10% off each and every order. Not only can you get the energy drinks, but you can also get some cool merch items. In fact, soon we're going to have a hat to show you as an example of some of those things. There's shirts and other things you can get as well as containers to mix up the powder and the water into that you can carry with you. We appreciate your support of the Southern Fried Podcast and also of Dubby Energy Drinks. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Hey, this is Robin Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. One of our shows that we love the most is Front Porch Talking. Our Friday night show, which starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, has become a tradition here at the Southern Fried. We appreciate you so much for stopping by on the front porch where we grab our sweet tea or coffee or whatever we're drinking and just sit on the front porch, wave at the neighbors as they go by, and just have a great discussion. We usually don't have a topic or theme. We just like to talk, and we like for you to stop by on the front porch as well. It's a Southern tradition. And Rob and Dave, we're all about the South. We live here in the state of Georgia, and all through the South or throughout wherever you live in the United States or the world, remember, as Rob says, it's a Southern state of mind. Join us each Friday night at 8 p.m. with our friends. Become part of that Cornbread Nation Breadhead crew and join us on the front porch and let's talk. Thank you so much.
When you get to give me a flag, can't you just let it be? I'm alright all day. You got to give me a fight. Why don't you just
And we're back. Well, part of us are back. Rob will be back in a minute. Um, and we do have some other things we want to discuss tonight. That's a great discussion and fun. Um, and it's one that we could discuss all night because there's so many variables in it. And I am quite versed in the region and quite versed in the history of it. So studied a lot, read about all the wars. Um, I get pretty much every angle of it. Um, but it is a hot potato. So I'm all for supporting Israel. I am my stand. I'm just pointing out issues that can happen. Um, Wanted to move on a little bit, if we can, and talk about some more things about the speech last night and do some follow up because this morning we had some information, but there is more information that came out from the speech last night. There were some people in the gallery, at least one that has been reporting out. I believe, a doctor, and they were there as at the invitation of their either senator or representative. I can't remember which. And I want to clarify one thing. I called the gentleman from Texas senator. He's Representative Al Green. He's 77 years old, I believe. And he said he was willing, he wanted to show the people he's willing to go down fighting or whatever. So I think he planned that all along. They have now led, it looks like they're going to they're going to at least propose some censures for him according to the rules. What that means, I don't know yet, but they're going to introduce some censure measures on him for how he acted last night and screaming at the president and waving his stick at him. So we'll see where that goes. That probably introduced this week sometime. The doctor that was in the gallery had some interesting follow up on this because they were there and seen what the cameras didn't show. And one of the things they talked about is that the Democrats, there were a small handful that cheered for the little boy, but not many. Most of them just stayed on their phones the whole night long. They just totally ignored the process and they just chatted out on social media during the whole thing. Their invitees in the gallery sat as well. They didn't move. They didn't clap for nothing. They were up there supporting their senator representative, and they didn't do. I'm talking about for the Democrats. They didn't give any support whatsoever either. So there was that, and there was some oddball things that were going on, odd people that were in the gallery, and the doctor said it was quite, and something to see. They didn't focus the cameras on all that stuff all the way through. So it was kind of neat to read their perspective, Rob, from being in the gallery and seeing some of those things that were going on. DJ did a lot of interviews. He got a visit to the White House. And I don't have the video, but I do have pictures that I wanted to pull up as an overlay. And there is the hug of the man that gave him the card, a good picture of him. And then he said, "I have something for you," to the president. And this is what we see. And so him and his dad was there, and the rest of their family. And the president says, "You're a great looking family," but he said, "I have something for you." And he comes over and gives the president a big hug. That was a great moment. Of course, the other hug we seen, him with his badge as an honorary member of the Secret Service, and what a fine looking young man there in that center picture, Rob. I really, really enjoyed that moment. That was totally cool. And the Democrats are catching a lot of heat today because they did not cheer this young man on. So there you go.
Yeah. And that is an absolute great story. And the fact that the Democrats just kind of just crapped on it just ticks me off.
Yes. Anyway, it was there's still things that are going outside of that. Many are calling this speech legendary, one for the ages, akin to Ronald Reagan's speech, and another one. I don't remember who they said that it was really filled with hope and good things that are going forward, and So anyway, just a little quick follow up.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot. I'm people probably tired of hearing it anyway, but I just wanted to say a quick follow up to the
No, it's
speech.
um, the fact that the representative from Texas was the one that had to be thrown out last night for shaking his stick and everything. How much better or how cool of a story would it have been if he'd have crossed over to that child and congratulated him? How much cooler would that have been?
Another thing that was said from the doctor in the gallery was when they called for the sergeant of arms to come remove him, the first person he went to was Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
And she wouldn't even look at him, the sergeant at arms.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even look to the right because she didn't want to look towards the Republicans. She didn't even look at the man. And because of her ranking, her being a ranking member and all that, I'm sure there was some discussion about this, not wanting this thing to escalate. I don't know what they said, but she kind of sort of really ignored the guy. So then he went on and talked to Mr. Representative Green and asked him, to leave or whatever. And he went out. He hollered some more out in the rotunda or whatever it's called, and then outside. He made a spectacle of it. And it just he seems like a guy that just needs to kind of go on. But yes, you are right, Barry. That is a great. There's a lot of news about that today. The Supreme Court refused to withhold that money, so there's $2 billion that's going to go ahead and being distributed to USA aid projects. That was decided today. So I don't think there's anything they can do now. The Supreme Court has ruled, and we did not get a 5-4. Somebody flipped over. I don't remember if it was Roberts or who, but that money will be dispersed to those projects, depending on the time frame that they were supposed to be dispersed and all that. I don't think it's immediate, but they will begin to start dispersing that money. So that $2 billion will be sent to projects around the world. And this was a good post as well. Yes, totally agree with that statement. Barry also had this statement. Thank you, Barry. And then he followed up with this. And yes, so. And Barry also said, Doge needs to expose more. Amen. Amen.
Yes, they do.
So thank you for the comments. Great stuff.
Let's see. I got a great stuff for you here. Can you read that?
try doing
That's
something.
Stephen Colbert mocking the liberals in their little signs last night. Stephen Colbert, of all people, try doing something.
Well, the strategy right now is to paint up the administration as unfeeling and hurting Americans, and uh, you know, not caring about charities and da 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 da. I mean, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to cast the president and all of his cabinet in a bad light, and that's their number one playbook right now, is to do that. So the more and now you're going to, of course, they're already talking about Medicaid and Social Security. There's a talk about tonight. The news came out that as many as 70 to 80,000 jobs may be cut in the Veterans Administration by August, and I think that's what my sister was talking about. By August, she wasn't sure. So if they go that deep, I just don't know where she stands. So that's something we're just going to have to pray about and look at. Also, as many as half of the IRS looked at being cut, and there's some other ones, but some of the news that's been coming out about that. It's really difficult to keep up with. There's so much going on, but lost in everything that's went on, and it has not been talked about. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I heard a little bit, but he said that he would pardon Pete Rose.
Really?
Yes. So his son spoke out tonight and said the pardon would mean the world. Tyler Rose, the son of the late baseball legend Pete Rose, told Newsmax on Wednesday that a posthumous presidential pardon for his father would mean the world to the family. At the end of last month, President Donald Trump wrote a social media post criticizing Major League Baseball for banning Rose and the Baseball Hall of Fame for not inducting him during his lifetime. He also vowed to pardon Rose, who was permanently banned from the Major League Baseball, of course, after the gambling investigation when he was with the Cincinnati Reds, and also he pled guilty to filing false tax returns, and he served 5 months in prison. So I won't read the whole article, but he did swear, vow that he would pardon Pete Rose. So a lot of baseball fans will be happy about that, even though it happened posthumously.
Yes.
Which we always said he would be dead before this happened. And that, in fact, will be the case.
Yes. So it's just a matter of waiting there for him to pass on. So.
Well, and sometimes Rose could be his own worst enemy. There were probably paths to this happening while he was alive, but he usually sort of stuck his foot in his mouth and started saying some things he shouldn't, and he would never take full ownership of some things, and from what I've understood. So, but anyway, people have made the analogy, was he any worse than Ty Cobb or others, that some of the things that they did, I don't know. That's for the baseball writers and people that look over that stuff to decide, or fans themselves. But yes, the VA to eliminate 80,000 jobs in August is the headline.
Mm.
And a judge has barred the National Institute of Health, or the White House has been barred from cutting the National Institute of Health research funding. That's also happened today. He blocked the administration from carrying out steep cuts to federal grant funding for research that universities and Democratic-led states warned would lead to layoffs, lab closures, and a curtailment of scientific and medical studies. This was Judge Angel Kelly in Boston, issued a nationwide injunction at the request of 22 Democratic state attorney generals and groups representing medical schools and universities, who argued that the NIH's planned funding cuts were unlawful. He was an appointee of Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, and so that also came down today. A lot of lawsuits popping up. There
Well,
were some wins for the administration as well. That there were some things that I think one of the terminations they were allowed that was allowed to go through, and so
I think there should be a lot more lawsuits popping up. I really do. That's how we keep our country divided. That's how we keep throwing wrenches in the works and keeping people from holding back the people that were elected into office to fix problems. You just keep throwing lawsuits at them. I think that's great. That's what we need to be focusing on. We don't need to be focusing on why they got elected and what they said they would do when they got elected. Let's just throw lawsuits at them. I mean, that's the way this country works anymore. Let's and I don't the whole thing with the Supreme Court go ahead and sending this money out, the $2 billion out to USA. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right, we found all this waste of fraud. It's for silly stuff, and they're still going to do it.
$2 billion worth, $2 billion worth.
I hope they went through and I hope they'll release which ones they're saying send the money for.
Yeah, I would like to know the accounting of that.
If they're doing it for drag shows in Colombia, if they're doing it for the effects of transgender surgery on rats, or if they're doing it to find out if the wheels on the bus really do go round and round. I would like to see an accounting for what they're saying we need to send this money for.
Also today, Pete Hegseth said that um, he said after the communist nation rattled sabers by stating it is prepared for any type of war with the U.S. following the start of the President Donald Trump's additional tariffs on Chinese imports, he said, we're prepared, end quote. He told Fox News, according to Blaze Media, quote, those who long for peace must prepare for war. That's why we're rebuilding our military. That's why we're reestablishing deterrence in the warrior ethos. We live in a dangerous world with powerful antecedent countries with very different ideology, end quote. So that also, there's an article on that today. So a little bit of heating up there on that front as well. Hegseth went on to say that China has been, quote, rapidly increasing, end quote, its technology and defense spending. Their defense budget was increased 7.2% this year to about $245 billion. The U.S. defense budget for the current fiscal year is approximately $850 billion. Still, the Pentagon and others believe China's defense budget is 40% higher or more because of items included under other budgets. And he said that Trump understands the peace through strength. So yeah. we'll see kind of where that goes. A lot going on in the world, brother. A lot going on in the world.
There is heaps of it going on. And there's, like right now, you got Justice Alito in the Supreme Court. Okay. And that was a scathing article that he wrote. The dissent portion of that. It was scathing. He called it an unfortunate misstep. And he says it rewards an act of judicial hubris. It's It says, does a single district court judge who likely lacks jurisdiction have the unchecked power to compel the government of the United States to pay out and probably lose forever 2 billion taxpayer dollars? The answer to that question should be an emphatic no, but a majority of this court apparently thinks otherwise.
Yes, Barry, I concur.
Unless they're actually over 100. Some people make it that far.
Well, they went all the way up. The president went all the way up to over 100 and was it 40 or 50 years? It was one person over 150, and someone over 140. They had different numbers. So, got to investigate.
Another thing I love is these. We love USAID, and the faces of the foreign aid. Have you seen these pictures?
No.
The people standing around with the posters. Okay, well, where are the? Where's the drag shows? Where's the condoms being handed out? Where's where's all the rest of this? You know, we're just going to focus on one little part of it, but we're going to miss where all these other billions were going.
Yep.
And why does everybody hate Elon? Okay, he wasn't elected. Your federal judges aren't elected, are they? Most of them. I think they're appointed positions.
They're usually appointed.
Okay, so they have the rule over the law of the land, and they're appointed. Elon was appointed to his position, and he's trying to go through and find fraud, waste, and abuse. What's wrong with that? His cabinet, your presidential cabinet. That has to be confirmed by Congress, but come on, they're not elected.
One of the things that the Dems complained about was they should, again, I'm not saying I'm supporting it. I'm just talking. When you put, this is what you hear is they say that they had access to private information that they shouldn't have had people's social security numbers and their private information. That was one of the charges that he should not have been allowed to have access to that. That was one of the things they brought up.
Okay. So restrict his access to social security and personal information. Refer to them by an employee ID number. There's ways around that.
Yeah.
We don't even know who's investigating. Just give him an employee ID number. That's all he needs. That's all they need. And I'll agree with that. They give them an employee ID number so they can, it would go back to that individual. Make it just a Doge ID number. It goes back to that individual. They don't even have to know who they're talking about or nothing. Just track it.
Yeah.
And that's probably will be the answer to that, or something along that lines. But I don't think the Democrats want this investigated. And I bet you there's going to be a bunch more stuff comes out that they don't want investigated. It's going to be just as big and hairy of a stink. I can't say that for sure, but I feel fairly confident that that'll be the case.
Well, one of the things that sometimes people don't realize, or maybe they do, I don't know, is he's the head or part of that leadership, or there's others there. But Elon, in and of himself, is not actually looking at all of the data. It's impossible. They have teams, Doge teams, that are going out and getting access to the data and then bringing back that stuff to him. Now, I'm not saying he hasn't looked at stuff. He has, but there's no way they could have covered what they needed to cover. just through him and a handful. They have quite a, I don't know how many, but there are those teams that goes out and looks at different aspects of spending and budgets and all that stuff.
Okay. Um, I'm not going to go back into a while ago. I do want to put out that there are currently still 5 U.S. hostages or 5 hostages with U.S. citizenship in Gaza. So most are feared dead.
Okay.
So, um, so he is having direct talks with Gaza about getting their bodies released, or if there's any still alive, brought back.
I hope they
Which
are.
could have explained why he had such a big blow up with them.
I hope they are.
You know,
Truly sad.
yeah, I'm ready for him to come home. You know, it's like I said, and I'm probably a bit emotional on this topic because how long? I mean, I hate to see it, and those people's lives are ruined, and it's just hard to say. Uh, let's see. Yeah, you have uh, Democrat Representative Stanbury going off on a profane triad. That was on Fox there. You know, said Trump doesn't have an immigration bill yet. Well, okay. You got to get the borders under control before you can even do that. So, the money was laundered through Ukraine with Sam Bankman Fried.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, that was true.
We'll probably, yeah. We'll probably never know the full or even a partial accounting of what happened with all that.
No.
But you're right. Your early statement is that Zelensky is ready to. He's contrite and he's ready to make deals. So um, I think things are going to move pretty quickly. But who knows? It's another one of those that could blow up. You're dealing with variables that it's kind of hard to control. I do want to talk about again. We talked about this morning. We didn't really get to it tonight. There was some news I watched live on Brett Barrett's show. This Ottawa leader who very much is still talking smack, and they're talking about their pulled products, American products. One of the things they mentioned was liquor off of the shelves in Canada. He also threatened again because they asked him point blank, "Are you still willing to cut off the power to U.S. citizens?" And he said, "Absolutely." And I think that that would be a huge mistake again by this person to do that. But at the end of his tirade, probably not the right word, but he was, he kept everything was about. Of course, he's blaming Trump. He said, it's he didn't do this before. Why is he doing it now? Da da da. But he said at the very end, "But I love America." We're going to
Okay.
cut your power off, but we love America.
Why
Check.
don't we why don't we just run power out there and just say the heck with them, let them cut it off?
I would cease to buy that power as soon as reasonably possible.
Yeah, I would
If you
go
if
ahead.
you're going if you're going to threaten to cut the power off, he said. I mean, he basically said let them hurt because that's how we fought back. Okay, bud. Okay. Let's just get it done where we don't need him.
Yeah.
We don't need his power. And we'll talk about going to war. Economic war, I'm talking about. Go for it.
Don't make the threat unless you're ready to carry it out.
Barry, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know, is my answer. But it would be nice to see some of that. The Democrats called them muskrats. Yeah, they did. They did. Well, when you start, when you start getting into somebody's play money, the sock drawer, the back door, and all that stuff, they're going to get mad. They're going to fight. They're going to call you names. They're going to make threats. They're going to shake their stick. Oh, we have, and all of Congress has been guilty of robbing the. Okay, thank you, NC Native. Appreciate that. I didn't know that, but I appreciate that. I did not know that. Let's put that back up for people. They might need to see that. Doge.gov/savings. There's your address. And feel free to go look that up. And I guess the savings will be $2 billion less now because the judge or the Supreme Court has said, send the money. Was that included in that, I wonder? I don't know. I don't know. It may not list specifics, but just general numbers. Okay. Got you. Check. Yeah, you can only do so much in 2 months. That's true, Barry. It's amazing how quickly this is going and what they have uncovered in a relatively, extremely short amount of time. It is absolutely incredible. And we may have only scratched the surface. Who knows? They went after systems they knew were problems for sure, major systems. But when you get into backdoor money and deals and bills where money has been allocated and agreed upon, and where has that money went? Did it really go to the project, the port project? That could take years to actually investigate. But just on the surface, there's no telling the amount of money. Billions for sure, if not a couple of trillion, if maybe more. Who knows? Yes, they did, and I'm seeing these numbers. I would like to see the receipts on that. I'm seeing numbers, but if they can, that needs to be. There needs to be some way they can show that in a documented way, so that people, because they're talking about millions of dollars to these different politicians. I would love to see that put on full display. So the website says 105 billion so far. Wow.
Yes. It's estimated $652 per taxpayer. $652. Sorry, I was skimming down the site real quick.
And so that will go on. And then potential savings as these departments are slashed. And, how far can they slash them? At some point, there's going to be a point that you can't go any further. But there will be quite a bit of jobs eliminated, but there'll still be a lot of federal workers. But the fat needs to be trimmed away for sure, or those that serve absolutely no purpose or not working, or
Right.
I heard this story one time, and this happened locally. And I don't want to say the federal entity, because I got this information from somebody that used to work there. There's a lot of we'll recognize that comment real quick. That there's a lot of people mad at her because of how she's ruled, and that look she gave Trump last night that people have captured is telling. Wow! If you have not seen it, go look at that video. So yeah, let's see. He's on the take. We subsidized them to the tune of $250 billion, even more to Mexico. This is just to give you an example. This is a small example. Just a grain of sand. This is true. This is absolutely true. I knew someone that worked for a federal entity, and they told me this story. There was a guy that came to work at a federal job in the near where I live, and I forget what his job was. He told me it really doesn't matter. So on the first day that he gets there, you know how it is. You come in, and you go through your orientation or whatever it is you do, and they send you out to go to your job. And by the way, this is by far not just a federal government thing. I've seen this happen in the secular world a lot too. Not this long, but they sent him out to do his job, and someone told him to sit in a chair in this room and wait. And so that's what he did. Day after day after day after day after day. And this went on a long time. A long time. He came in every day with his lunch pail. He went and sat in that chair in that room, and he just sat there and he ate his lunch and he went to the bathroom, and that's what he did. And finally, after a long amount of time, somebody came up and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm doing what they told me to do." He never said, "Hey, I'm new. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Nobody got with me." He just sat there. And this went on a long time. That's one example.
I wonder how many more examples there are like that.
Oh, there's no telling. There's no telling. All three of Trump's Supreme Court appointments are trying to be the next John Roberts. Yes, it's not the slam dunk that people thought it was. Yeah. Everybody thought that, that's what the Democrats said. Oh, yeah, we'll never see a ruling our way. Well, John Roberts has totally, we look at all the things he's done, and Amy's done it way, and there's another one in there, that does that too. And it looks like there may be two more Supreme Court justices that could potentially retire during President Trump's term. Possible.
Yeah.
Clarence is getting up there, and he's had some health issues. And then the other one was who? Kagan or anyway, there's two that could potentially step down during the term.
Yeah, Thomas and Alito.
Alito. Yeah, Alito. Sorry. And you're right. That is the extreme conservative side of the Supreme Court.
Yeah. Yeah, be
Crazy.
all rhinos and demos. Yep.
Well, we're on a tinderbox. There's so much going on.
That will be another war between the states. We don't like calling it a civil war.
Yeah, we don't call it a civil war. It was a war between states' rights, which we're still battling that. States' rights versus federal, and we're still battling that.
And Trump tries to kick it back, and he gets criticized for it constantly.
It's funny, depending on who you ask and what you're asking, whether they want the war of Yankee aggression. We called it Northern aggression, but Yankee aggression works too.
Yes.
Sorry, Steve, if you're out there somewhere. He considers himself Southern, no.
No, he's not that aggressive.
No. Well, I don't know. He beats on that steel. He's pretty dang aggressive.
Could you put that link in the chat?
Yes, Joanna, yes.
Yes, ma'am, I should have. Which link are you talking about, Barry? Talking about the Doge link? You are, there it is. Yes, they should have stayed home. Yeah, they should have got off their dead weight behinds and cheered that little boy when he got his badge.
Yeah, it's truly sad. Truly, truly sad that he was done that way. And all the others. All the
Yeah,
others.
all the others. They didn't.
MSNBC, they just went nuts talking about how heartless it was of the president to have him up there and use him like that. Oh, they went off the rails on this story. That it was disgusting what they did with him. That it was all political, and how dare them put that boy up there like that? Although they could appreciate the young boy and his story, it was horrible, and they got sick at their stomach watching this scene that President Trump did to inflate his own ego. That's
Wait a
pretty
minute.
much what they said.
I didn't hear them bitching and grumping about everything Joe Biden did to inflate his ego and all that mess. That was all okay. But that was Biden. It wasn't Trump. So it's okay when Biden does stuff. Their whole political party hid, but that he was mentally incompetent, you know.
Barry, there was a guy that I used to know, and he was a member of that in our county, something similar, and they found some waste in the public schools, and boy, did he get attacked. Just like Elon. Yes, they did move, and I don't know what all that means. Then somebody made a motion for
that
me.
it goes to, I think, a full congressional vote to censure him.
But what does censure mean? Does it just mean a slap on the wrist? Does it mean he doesn't get to come in for a meeting? Or I don't know, what does that mean, censure? That's just we don't like what you did, and we're getting on to you. I mean, I don't know how far that goes.
Consequences with a censure. Let me see if I can figure out what they all do. I think it depends on what the decision is.
Well, there may be levels of censure. He just loses all his committee positions.
Yeah,
that would make sense. Kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or there's been a couple of others that they have done this way.
But if he loses all of his committees and all his committee positions, I mean, that's a lot of power for a congressman or a representative.
It is, because that's where you really do your work, is on committees. He is 77, though. He may not care.
He may not.
At this point, he's just riding. I mean, he's going to be voted in every time anyway. He's just riding it.
Yeah. And that's sad. That really is. And that's the constituents' fault that keep voting in these losers like this. That's the people's fault. It's not their fault. It's the people's. It comes a point in time where you have to call it what it is. So, you know.
His birthday is September 1st. He was born in 1947. He's 77 years old. He was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. He had education at the Thurgood Marshall School of Law, 73, Florida A&M University, 66 to 71. And let's see here what else we can find out about him. He was, it's the 9th Congressional District of Texas. He's in his 9th term in the House of Representatives. He is a veteran of civil rights advocacy. He has fought for those, and this is his page, I'm just reading what it says, for those in society whose voices too often are not heard. He currently serves on the Financial Services Committee as well as the Committee on Homeland Security. Interesting. On the Financial Services Committee, he serves on 3 subcommittees: Diversity and Inclusion, Shock, Housing and Community Development, and Insurance, as well as Oversight and Investigation, where he holds the position of chair. On the Committee on Homeland Security, he serves on two subcommittees: Emergency Preparedness, Response and Recovery, and Border Security. Oh, shock!
Yeah.
Facilitation and Operations within the Democratic Party. He holds the position of Assistant Whip. That's information I did not know. So, there's a lot of people asking, did she have a flask last night? That's a lot of talk. I don't know if she did or not.
I would have rather seen her just pull out a little bottle of Pepto Bismol, and take a big old slug.
Green was co-founded and co-managed the law firm of Green, Wilson, Dewberry, and Fitch. In 1977, he was appointed Justice of the Peace in Harris County, Texas, where he served for 26 years before retiring in 2004. So he has that pension coming in, as well as his representative money as well. Let's see if there's anything else here that stands out. He was the president of the Houston branch of the NAACP.
There you go, Barry.
Yeah. He is a member of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, as well as the Congressional Black Caucus. He holds memberships in several community organizations, including Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, League of United Latin American Citizens, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and Sigma Pi Phi, I didn't say that probably right, fraternity. He does say this: when asked, "How are you?" he often responds, "Better than I deserve." I have said that many times. So there you go.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, he needs to be hauled out on his butt.
Al Green. On November 1st and 23, he put out a press release where he called for a ceasefire against the killing of innocent Palestinian civilian men, women, and especially children. That was in November of 23. And you can see that on his webpage. He says, like Israel, they too are real and have a right to live. So that's some of the things he's been working on.
Okay.
I was trying to see if there's anything else in the committees. I have to drill down and see what legislation he has sponsored. I agree, Miss Joanna. I agree.
Yeah, they ought to sit on their hands.
It's absolutely appalling how they acted.
All right. Well, I'm going to go let you get it, Dave. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we're not too far from the end. And it's good to have everybody here. Appreciate you being here on a Wednesday. And lots of news going on. Lots of different things as we move into the next steps for Doge. We move in the next step for diplomacy. We move in the next step for border security, whatever it is. There's a lot going on. And so we'll see where these things go to, and where they end up. So pray for the president, pray for the United States, pray for our military, our diplomats, our embassy staffs, all those around the world, all those that are working within the country, for safety for them, because the temperature's rising, it seems like, within our country. And so let's pray for those folks as they do their work. It's dangerous, and sometimes there are threats to them, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt. It's really, really sad, really, really sad. We did survive the storms last night. We didn't have any damage here, and we never lost power, but the storm was really bad. Um, we did have, I noticed some limbs down on the road, but that wind was howling so heavy that it was scary. I mean, there was sounds that I have not heard here in a long time, as as that really heated up. I come off the air last night right before midnight, and it was getting intense when I got soaked going from the studio to the house. Yeah, I bet it was. I mean, it was howling. My granddaughter said, "What is that sound?" And I said, "That's wind." And she said, "I don't think I can go to sleep." A lot of people told me they didn't get to sleep until after 1 o'clock in the morning because of the wind and the lightning and the rain. It was scary, and we don't normally see that kind of wind gust. I mean, in a tornado situation, yeah, but it was super. I mean, rough all the way across the South. I mean, that they had told us 2 days before that there would be potential for tornadoes and stuff, and of course the schools were on a 2-hour delay, so I didn't take the kids to school. I did pick my granddaughter up because I got out of my meeting early, so I didn't got home. I just thought I would go ahead and pick her up, and she was got her school in, but they were late going in. But my son took her to school, so she didn't have to. She's close enough to walk to school. I did that when I was her age sometimes, but the weather was still iffy. So, but by this morning it was not. I mean, I didn't have any problems going to work or anything. So I don't know what time it stopped, but at 3:30 in the morning or so, my wife asked me, was I still in the studio? Well, I wouldn't be in the studio at 3 o'clock in the morning. That the lights were blinking, and I was asleep. I didn't even notice that. I don't think I did. It was cold. I did. We stepped out of our meeting, and someone says that feels like it's so cold it feels like sleet, but it wasn't. It was just wet. But did you get some? Did you get flurries? I didn't see any flurries. So I did not see that. But yeah, very, very, very sad, the weather conditions sometimes when we see people. Um, so yeah, no, you didn't have any flurries. Well, we didn't have any either. You got a McFlurry about an hour ago. Those are pretty good. I know. I like your kidding. It's great. Oh, it was oh man. We were talking the other night, and I was telling about this drunken, and I only say it because that's what they were. They said they were drunk and they were a Democrat because they said, "I'm a Democrat." And this was at Walmart, and so I was approached by a drunken Democrat at Walmart. And I was talking to somebody off the air, and we kind of joked around about that. That I was confronted about my boy is what I was. I still need to cover that. I'm gonna have to. We're gonna do some comedy off of it, I think. But he just looked at me and said, "Your boy." I said, "Who's my boy?" Trump. This was Saturday. So it was, you never know what you're going to run into when you go out in the public. I mean, you just never know what somebody's flavor is. And they just lock onto you, you know. So it was it was not good, you know. Oh man. Uh, you know, people attack you online. You know, they get really nasty and ugly, and they'll say anything. The keyboard warriors, they'll say anything to you. We've been pretty blessed on the podcast. We've not had anybody. You're my boy blue, old school. Well, people say anything. They'll call you names. They'll trash you. And that's one of the things I don't really get into comments too much because it's like there's a whole subset of people that are ready to attack you, no matter what you ask. You could say anything. You could just be asking what the weather is, and they'll just start attacking you. It's like they just stand at the ready. It's like a video game where they get ready to attack, and it's like their own go declare war against you for your comments that you say. Um, when you say anything, and it's funny. It's not funny, but it is funny because down in the comments, that same person who got attacked will say, "My gosh, all I wanted to know about was the weather or what this new place was being built or whatever, and I didn't ask for all y'all to attack me." And it turns into this real attacking thing, you know. Oh man, that's the way the world is, ain't it? Though, I mean, you can't have discussion anymore. It's all everybody wants to attack you on what you say, how you say it, make fun of you in some way. So you got to be thick-skinned if you're gonna exist out there in that realm. So, oh my goodness. I was telling somebody today. They asked me about the podcast, and I said, well, we'll talk about serious stuff. We generally just try to have fun. I said because people like to laugh, and I said they can either laugh with us or at us. It's okay. So, I'm glad to have humor and laughter, and you got to stay because there are so many difficult things we deal with across the world. We had some comments come in on Rumble about one of our shows. Was talking about these kids that have been taken out of Ukraine into Russia, and they were saying, "Yeah, you're right. It's so sad, but what are you going to do? I mean, it's you can pray about it, but I don't think these kids are ever coming home, or most of them, and I don't think anybody's even government-wise, nobody's really saying anything. So, it's just horrible when you see those injustices that are going on, and my heart just goes out to them, and I really hate that kind of thing happens. And again, last the speech, it just again, you can't celebrate a little boy, and what a cool stinking story. And I don't care if it was Democrats doing it or Republicans or whoever. The fact that he had a great time, and he'll never forget that. And he got to visit the Oval Office. I mean, that's just something that you don't. How many people really get to see that? And so recognize during a speech, all the publicity, all the shows, gets to go and see, actually see the president, hug his neck. And for those that didn't see that, I showed some pictures, and it's just a cool story. It's just an absolutely cute as a button, cool story, and I really love that. And I hope he grows up and does great things. I hope he just. I told a guy today he's 32, and he works where I do, and he just got a new position, and I said, "Man, you're killing it." And I said, "I'm happy for you. I congratulate you. I like to see people get what they want to do." Yes, there is. It's just horrible that they would do him like that. But you know what? He ain't missing a beat. I don't think I don't even know if he knows. And he don't, his parents, I'm sure, did a really good job of shielding him from that information. And he's oblivious to that. He's living the dream. He's having a ball. And that's just cool stuff. I don't care, uh, think about it, their family, their extended family, all the people that know him, kids that he's went to school with, how big a deal that is. That's just a cool thing. I celebrate with people when they get to do stuff like that. I mean, we had, in our area, we had, he has since deceased, because of health problems, but one of the shows, oh, what was it? The one where they built the house in a week. They take the house and they redo it in like a week. That show's not on the air anymore. I forget what it was called, but they did one that's only maybe, not even 5 minutes from where I live. We'll say 3 minutes of driving, and you're there. And he had that bone condition where soft bones and stuff, and they redid his house, and that was cool. It mean a lot to people in this area that he would. And I work with his uncle. I work with him, so it was really cool. Let's see. He shook the guy's hand. That guy. Oh, he did. Okay, cool. I didn't get to see that. There's some parts that I missed due to work and everything. Thanks for saying that. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah. I just think that's a win. That's a win. No matter who set it up, who comes. That's just. And what I really think. I mean. Truly, those representatives and senators from the state of Texas should have been unified on that. That goes beyond party politics. You're talking about your home state, and you just say, "Hey, we're gonna, we're gonna celebrate this. We can go back to the battle tomorrow, but we're gonna celebrate this, and we're gonna be genuine about it. We're gonna shake hands. We're gonna smile. We're gonna take pictures. We're gonna clap. We're gonna do all those things that we need to do to celebrate this young man, and that's the way it should be. And that used to be the way it was. I mean, you still have that decorum when they get together and they bring in the different the Supreme Court, the cabinet, the Joint Chiefs or whatever. You have Republicans and Democrats being a part of that escort. Well, why can't we just celebrate somebody that's being brought in and being celebrated, or they're honoring their lost family member, whatever. Deal with the politics of it the next day. But you know, again, that was programmed. They think that is they're not gonna give any credit to the president or his cabinet or anybody associated. So I guess we just have to realize what we're dealing with, and we can be not happy about it, and we're going to talk about it because we're podcast, but it's not going to change them. And but America got to see it, but there's a lot of people celebrating that because they think that's the right move to make, to be non-compliant, to show disgust, to show signs, to turn your back, to sit down, to not clap, to catcall and holler and all that stuff. They think that's great. So. And there's some of that on both sides, but I've never seen it to that level on the Republican side. I mean, they'll sit there when they're cheering things that we don't like. Sure, there were things that the Biden celebrated. I'm like, oh, that's horrible. But when they talk to citizens and things that they had overcame or whatever, I always celebrate that. So you would hope they do need it, but unfortunately, those people voting, they are for them. I mean, they want them to act like that. Again, it's almost to the point they don't even have to campaign. When their election comes around, I know they do, but they don't have to work hard at it. They just run again and they get it. Run again and they get it. And so, what would make them change? I mean, they're saying this is what my people want me to do. These are the ones that elected me, or at least the majority of them that voted, and so I'm doing what they want me to do. So I'm gonna keep on doing it, and that's bad. That's horrible. So what do you do? I don't know. I really don't know, but pray for them, absolutely. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. In the State of the Union when that comes, it'll be interesting to see what actions happen then versus now. Does it about the same? Does it get worse? Does it get a little better? Um, that is important though. The censorship, if they are able to pull him off committees and people act up like that, uh, that does hurt their ability to legislate. And it is for a politician, and it's really, I'll say this, it's really hard when you're talking about a legislator. A lot of times their true measuring stick for themselves is what bills did I get passed. The problem with that is is that I mean, the more bills you introduce, the more laws that become law. You're making it hard. You're putting more regulation, more legislation on everyday Americans. And so sometimes I'm like, well, you probably need to take some off the books. I mean, there's too much there. But that's what a rookie senator or a rookie representative. That's their first big. I think that's next year, Mr. Joanna. I think that's next year, early next year. But I could be wrong on that, but I think that's what I heard them say. Uh, so they're always looking, how can I be a part of a bill? And that's something you take back to your constituency and you say, I got House bill or Senate bill, whatever, introduced and it got passed and it was voted into law. And they run on that. Or you were a part of one. Usually you're not the sole person. It takes a lot of people to be a part of a bill because they'll hold you back. Everybody wants to put their piece of the pie on there. The pork, that's what happens. Making sausage, and you got to have friends. That's what happens in state government. What happens in the federal government, and they put all that stuff at the bottom of a bill, and you see all that. But they go back and they campaign on that. And they say he said he wasn't feeling good, Mr. Johanna. He said he wasn't feeling good. So they put they go back to their constituent. They run the next election. They say I got these things passed, or I was a part of this change, or I'm on these committees, and these are things we're working on. So that's how you build your legislative agenda, and it's what you campaign on, and it's what you say. This is what I'm about as a sitting senator or representative in state or federal government. So but again, the more you introduce, the more law we get, which makes it harder I mean, it's hard to even keep up with what all the laws are. I mean, there are so many regulations. And so, yeah, you get that. So I cringe sometimes when I see, we're going to get these laws passed. Well, man, you're passing more on me. There's more things. Now, some of them don't apply to me. Well, it may, because it may run more cost up as you put regulation on something. A lot of times that adds cost because there are things that have to happen. So if it's related to swimming pools and I don't have one, does it really affect me unless I went to get a swimming pool? Although it would affect other people in my district. And there's a lot of regulations about pools, especially public pools. If you've ever dug into that, it's pretty amazing how many rules and laws there are related to that regulation on that, which is important. Not saying it's not. But if I were, say, wanting to do something on my property and what is all the regulations that goes with that, that would affect me. If I wanted to build something, if I wanted to add an addition, if I wanted to start a business, which we are, if I wanted to do those things, then that would affect me. And so you have to know those laws so you don't run against the law and you get in trouble. You get your business in trouble or your personal self in trouble or something like that. Online, it said it was a myth. Did Zelensky purchase 2 yachts for the money we gave him? So I don't know. I've heard mansion in Miami, the sum total of $5 billion that he has gotten a hold of. But again, I don't know if that's anywhere near being truthful. I really don't. So uh, that's why I say you hear a lot of stuff, but what is the truth? I really don't know. We do know there's waste, and we do know there's uh, we do know that there's money has not went for everything it was supposed to go to, and so yeah, there you go. You see natives. Well, you gotta have one for the summer and one for the winter, or one bigger, one smaller, you know, or maybe it takes so many people you have two. He may have a lot. He may have a big posse. All of his peeps, they've got to go too. So one yacht don't do it. I mean, yachts only go so far anymore. You got to have a bunch of them. Oh, okay. One for one for all the money he stole from American handouts. Okay, well that too. That's the money train, the money yacht. Hey, we need some more money. Okay, let me go over to my other yacht. I'll get some money for you. So yeah, I don't know. That is the land of the rich and famous, though, right? All those big, huge yachts, and they cruise them around the world, and I mean they're like floating cities. And the richer people get, the bigger yachts they want. It's like keeping up with the Joneses. If Abdul over here is going to get from Qatar, he's going to get him this bigger yacht. Then I'm over here in this other country, or even the same country, and I've got to get me a bigger one because I got to keep up with him, and get the new bells and whistles and the latest technology and all that stuff. Barry says if we can keep exposing the theft, that's what we can do is attach a name to the fraud. And that's what I would like to see. Be able to put documented evidence of who did what, who stole what, so that you can then potentially bring charges. But at the very least, you may get them out of office, or you may expose them if they're a foreign person, and start showing some of the things that they've done. And in the midst of all of this, that's going on, the speech and all the things, you talk about Israel, China, Russia, Ukraine. Where is the Epstein file? That's still not been handled. What they released was not acceptable. Where's the rest of the file? Makes you wonder what's going on with that. So, is anybody going to step up and, deal with it? And they said they were. And where's the JFK file? Martin Luther King file? These are questions that Americans have. Where's that at? So there's a lot of layers to this. There's a lot of things that are going on at the same time. Doge, cutting of federal jobs. These files to be released, foreign things, the border, and the list goes on and on. It's amazing. I don't know how they keep up with it. It's like their meetings have to be really long. Okay, let's hear from the fraud group. What have you found? Okay, all right. Let's hear from the border group. Let's hear from the tariff group. Let's hear from the, what I mean? My gosh, I mean, or those each individual meetings. Okay, we're going to meet with the border security group now. Oh, the next meeting is Doge, and the next meeting after that, we need to meet with Pam Bondi and talk about the release of the documentation. And I know that he don't go to every meeting, he being the president. There's all these department heads and other people, senators and whatever, that are in these things. So, but there's a lot of, that's Washington. There's always meetings going on. And it is in state government too. A lot of meetings. A lot of meetings. That's the way it works. You see it on C-SPAN, right? Somebody standing up in one of the rooms, committee rooms, and they're making a speech, and there's like 5 people sitting in there. And then sometimes they're packed out. It depends on what the meeting is and at what point in the that's going on within that meeting, what's going on at that time. And sometimes they're in different committees, so they say, okay, they'll make their comments, and they'll say, I've got to go to another meeting, and then they just keep bouncing around these different meetings. And if you're attending some of those things, some of them are going at the same time. It's really hard. You have to split up and one go to one go to the other because there's meetings that are happening on top of other meetings, and it's impossible to go to all of them. And sometimes they just don't even show up for some of those meetings. So fascinating though, the work of government is absolutely fascinating. And if you ever get a chance, go to your state government, state house during a session, and 40 days of legislative session, 40 working days, and watch that process. Just go for one day. Go get in touch with your senator, representative, whatever, and get a time that you can come and they can host you, and go up in the galleries. Even if you can't want to do that, you're welcome, and you can go in. You go through security, and you go up and you sit in the gallery. If there's if it's you can sit and watch those proceedings. I want to go do that actually. I would just like to go and sit, and listen to some things. I'd have to look at the schedule and see what's going on, but I hadn't been there in a while, and I would like to go up and do that and sit in on some of the. I've never been in Georgia. I've been in the state, the chambers, Senate chambers, excuse me, several times. I don't mean like 50, but I've been in several times. But I've never been in the representatives, House of Representatives side. I would like to go on that side. It's much bigger because there's much more representatives than there are senators. 50, oh, what is it? 56, 50 something, but there's like 180 or something representatives. Those numbers ain't exact, but it's pretty close in Georgia. And so I've never been in that room. The Senate chamber is beautiful. They match this really old, the style of they have the old desk, and they just retrofit them with all the technology. But the really old desk, they have the carpet is the same style as it was 150, 60 years ago. They researched that. It's a beautiful chamber. And I've been all the way up on the dais and actually addressed for a few minutes as a representative clergy, and was able to kick off one of the days with a short devotion. And that was something I will never forget. And they were absolutely wonderful to me, people from both sides of the aisle. And I truly enjoyed that moment very much. It was a blessing in my life. And I've got to go down and meet the governor a couple of times, and the lieutenant governor even more times. And then, been in around, met senators out in the hallway and in different rooms. Met some lobbyists. You're going to meet a lot of lobbyists when you do that as well. And, you kind of learn how things kind of go. Talk to the staff. And they're the ones that really know what's going on, because they're they're answering the phones, emails, making sure that things are prepared, documents or whatever for the senator or the representative. And it's a lot of activity. It's amazing. You got groups coming in, getting their pictures taken, getting tours and stuff. It's a busy place when they're in session. And then there's a lot of things to see. There's a lot of artwork or old paintings and stuff. And you could spend a day just going around looking at all that stuff. It's really amazing. And a lot of people just never see that. Now, I've never been to the White House, and I would love to do that. I don't think I'm probably ever going to get to. But I think it would be neat to go there and do a tour of all the whatever you can tour there. Has anybody ever done that? And also at the White House, they have different things that they bring out and display at different times. So even if you've been, you go back another time, they've got more things on display. They have like a theme, and they will bring out all these very old things related to that theme. And so whenever you go, that changes. Of course, if it's the holidays, it's going to be decorated in the holiday. It's fascinating. It's just that it's amazing. You could go every day and see something new, I'm sure. And to tour the Capitol, to tour the grounds, all the different things, Washington Monument, all the things, the Vietnam Memorial, I think that would be a great trip, as well as the Statue of Liberty. Those are great things to go see. And I would love to do something like that. Well, we're going to get off of here. Y'all pray for us, and we'll pray for you. And tomorrow night is Cornbread Nation live. It's a little bit different show. There'll be some other shows as well. And I'll be looking for MAGA Minutes and Bible Devotions. We got a little bit behind on that this week. Just some things going on, sickness mainly. But those will be popping out as well. But thanks for joining the live. Yes, I would love to go, Mr. I'd love to go. I really, really would. And I'd love to have somebody be my guide so I don't have to kind of figure it out. Somebody that knows kind of where I would want to go and what I'd want to see. Thank you, NC Native. Thanks for being here, and I appreciate your time in here. You always bring the receipts. You bring good stuff. Hey, we talk about a lot of stuff on here, so we're all over the place, and we're willing to tackle any subject, and we appreciate what you bring. Sometimes y'all are doing research for us while we're on the fly, and that helps a lot. There's things we've missed, and it really helps. So thank y'all. This is what's fun about it is the interaction. Getting to do it, presenting some things, showing pictures like I said. When you're talking about this great story, I will never get tired of showing something like that. That's what's great, and interaction with our chat, and get the different types of shows we have. It's all fun, and we got a couple shows to catch up this week. I've been wanting to do it for like really over a month. I want to do a new I Remember That. That's a show I haven't done in a little bit, and I've got to get time to do that because I want to cover an important topic, and that is the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan. I want to go back and look at that. I was alive for it, and I remember that. And I was very young, pretty young, not like 5, but I was pretty young. And I want to go back and look at that. So be looking for that. I'm going to get that together soon and cover that. Everybody have a great night. I mean, really enjoy the rest of your night. I'm a night owl, so 10 o'clock's not late. You never know. I am planning on being on in the morning. We don't always do a Thursday show, but I'm planning on being on. That's the plan. Before I go to work, I'm going to do a Thursday morning show. So I'm going to do some things in here tonight. Once I get off the air, do a Thursday show, Cornbread Nation, and we'll see what else we get on. Then we get into the weekend, and it'll be great stuff. So we'll see you soon. Let's get the music going, and we'll let it play out. And y'all take care. See you soon. Salute.
Oh, well, it's early in the morning, grab a cup and tune on in. Robert and Dave got that southern charm, let the laughter begin. From the morning funny to MAGA Minute, ain't no better way to start your day the southern way, with a little joke and pray. We're just southern folks talking southern things, front porch swinging where the church bells rang. From Mama Said to Humpday News, we keep it real with down-home views. Sunday morning in the Word, get that gospel flow. Prayer time calls, so let's let our troubles go. Come Monday night, Mama Said is bringing the truth, and when it's night talk with Dave, man, you know it's getting loose. We're just southern folks talking southern things, stories and sports where the good times hang. From SFP News to I Remember That, we tell it like it is, and that's a fact. Got our veteran of the week, gotta show our pride. Pets of the week, bringing love worldwide. Talking paranormal, digging true crime. Southern fried stories all the dang time. So pull up a chair, y'all, and stay a while. Ain't nothing like that southern style. From the morning show to the soundstage band, it's SFP Live, won't you give 'em a hand?
This is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. Recently, me and Rob were able to go to Fresh Press Farms and do an interview, which we posted on all of our streams. We love these folks. They're amazing. And we are also customers of theirs. I've recently ordered my olive oil that we use in cooking to our home. We love that they're Georgia-based. We love that they're the only olive producer in the state of Georgia. And we love that they're making jobs here for Georgians in South Georgia. We want you to become a part of their family and use their products. They are the makers of homegrown cold-pressed cooking oils. Crafting oil like this means that they capture the best of the olive and the sunflower because they make that oil too. And they have other products that they have out there. It's an amazing company. They like to say freshness is never a question with Fresh Press Farms. They believe that what we put into our bodies should be minimally processed and actually improve our health and taste like the source. Locally produced and vertically integrated, they proudly grow, harvest, cold press, bottle, and distribute their oils in Georgia to ensure top-notch quality and a quick trip from grove to pantry. Please go online and look up their website and order you some too. Support small business, support Georgia business, and we would appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon. This is David the AM with the Southern Fried Podcast. We are now an affiliate of Podbean. Podbean is an audio platform which helps you get your voice out there. You can go online and go live from your very phone that you use. You don't have to have a lot of special equipment. It's nice to have a studio, but it's expensive. You can do those things from your phone. Hey, I was a listener of Podbean before I even became a podcaster. Maybe you've thought about being one. There was a time when I didn't think about being a podcaster, but think about it. You've got things to share. It could be as simple as baking, or it could be working on a car. The stories are endless that you could come up with to be a podcaster. And there are people out there that want to listen and to your stories and to your shows. And we're thankful for all those that watch and listen to us. Podbean is now an affiliate of the Southern Fried Podcast. Unless you're a business plan, that would be the bottom one. The one on top, use that. You'll get discounts. And also the Southern Fried Podcast benefits in this as well. I love Podbean. They also help launch out to many other audio sites. This saves me time. Time is precious. Time to be on the podcast. Time for research. Time to be with family. And yes, time to work. Yes, we still work out there in the workforce. So become a podcaster. Use Podbean. And when you use these links, one of them, you will save money and you'll also help the Southern Fried Podcast. Thanks so much for all your support. Take care. We'll see you soon. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, one of the blessed things we've been able to do is partner with the wonderful people at Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. These folks are a no-kill shelter in Donaldsonville, Georgia. You see the contact info on the screen. And these folks would love to have you come adopt a dog or a cat. They have folks that come from all over the United States, not just the state of Georgia. They're great folks. It's been a wonderful partnership between Southern Fried Podcast and ARA. And we've been blessed to meet some of the folks that have adopted animals from ARA. Also, we've been able to encourage people to donate and volunteer. They encourage volunteers that are in the area, and they're just wonderful people. We'd love for you to contact them, meet them too, go on their website, see some of the animals, and we know you'll want to partner with them too by taking a dog or a cat to their forever home. Join with us, the Southern Fried Podcast, in support of this great work of the Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. We know you'll be happy you did. I know we are.
Mama said there would be days like this when Dave and Rob start the show. There is bound to be some good times had by those who remember what Mama said. Mama said is the name of the game, and what Mama says is what Mama gets from the SFP studios. Mama is right and always right. We hold our flags high as we march to the tune of her music, because Monday nights show we know what to do and what to say, because we love our mamas, and that's the fact, Jack. Mama said is the name